Welcome to Leafs Quick Hits. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And what a week it's been for the Leafs. First, we want to recognize a few of our top fans on Facebook.
Kathy Smithwick, Russell McDonald, and Janie Lance have all held a top fan badge on our Facebook page for 7 months now. Rebecca Kahn, Stephen Flume are both on a 5-month streak of being a top fan of ours. And the follower with the longest top fan streak is Shenli Chen, 26 months in a row engaging with us on Facebook. So yes.
That I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
He does engage with us a lot, yes, commenting and stuff, but on our Facebook page, on the games and our posts. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. That's like a long time.
Yes, definitely one of our number ones. All right. Anyway, we want to thank you for following us on social media, and we invite anyone who listens to our podcast to leave us a comment on our social media posts and let us know what you think of the show. Feedback is so important to us. And of course, we love engaging with our Ladies Talkin' Leafs community. So
yeah. All right. So now we want to take some time to thank our sponsor, Bet Online, and tell you a bit about them. Bet Online continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion.
With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, to NHL and UFC, BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Please gamble responsibly, though. If you or someone you know needs some support or advice, you can reach out to Connex Ontario or an organization near you.
All right, we're going to get into Leafs quick hits now, quick hits of the week. So we'll, I guess, first off, start off, it wasn't so great of us starting there with the game versus Dallas. No. I guess they basically showed up. It started well with Austin Matthews scoring the first goal, but then they basically checked out the rest of the game. It was so weird that way. And, yeah, and it was their third loss in a row, at that time. And of course we have the comments from Mitch Marner and William Nylander. So yeah, so first, when it comes to basically the fan booing, we should say that they got booed off the ice again.
Yeah. So. I think that's what made that game just such a downer, is that it was the third game that they've kind of not showed up. Yeah. And there just seemed to be a lack of intensity, a lack of interest, and they just weren't working hard.
They weren't connected.
100%
connected at all. Yeah.
So thus the booing.
Yes. Yeah. And a big difference obviously was Jake McCabe not being there. It's for sure. It's unbelievable how much of an integral part that player is to our team. And it almost made me think it's like he's like Jake Muzzin was originally to our team, kind of like a similarity there, but we'll get into that a bit more later. But just going back, they got booed off the ice, of course. So they got booed from that Vancouver game on the Saturday night previous, and they got booed off the ice versus Dallas. And Mitch Marner, was asked about the fan reaction with the booing, and his comment was to just try to ignore it. We're trying to do our job out there and go out and put together a full 60. So that's how he commented to reporters after the game. And then William Nylander said, it doesn't matter if they boo. I mean, we know we're a good team. It's only been 3 games. So what's the big deal, really? Right. And that is typical Willie right there. And then Craig Berube says it's part of the game. They pay good money and they come to see us play hockey and they want us to win. So that's the way it goes. So that to me, that third answer by the coach is the correct one. Like that's how I view it too. But I don't know. Most of the, of course, Marner always gets the flack with his majority of it, because
I mean, I didn't find that his comment this time was that bad, really.
No.
And I just thought that Willie's comment just added fuel to Marner's previous comment, because it was a lot the same, which really makes you look at that core and be like, Do they not get it? Like, what is it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess in that game too, I guess in that Stars game, like, I guess everybody had checked out anyways, right? Even Joseph Wall, he didn't have it wasn't a great game. I mean, can't pin it on him, obviously, but the PK was horrendous. Like they went from being great the previous week. They were like third in the league. And today, now I think they're like 14th now because their PK is just,
got caved in big time.
And that again is, I guess, showing how Jake McCabe is, and that pairing with Tanev is such an integral part to the team.
Interesting too, like, Wall shouldn't get off scot-free for his comments after that game too, because somebody did bring up that, when he was questioned, his first response was how great his buddy played.
Right.
I know you want to give kudos to the other side, but when you've lost 3 games in a row as a team and you didn't have a great game yourself, maybe, read the room and that, give kudos to him at the end, not at the beginning. It shouldn't be your first utterance. Anyways, we can't really complain too much about stuff he says. And normally he's a very articulate guy, and that's a kind thing to say. But, that's not what we want to hear either, I don't think.
The other thing, I guess, with the defense, like it's like, I noticed going back on the highlights, every goal against, it was like a different pairing combination. Like there was never, it just seemed like Berube was kind of like just putting this guy with that guy. So like, it was like he had, like the first goal, he had Benoit and Timmins. Okay. That's why. And that's a normal pairing, let's just say at that time. But then the second goal, it was Myers with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And then the third goal, it was Benoit with Tanev. And then the fourth goal, it was Riley with Myers. Like it was just all different. There was no, that's where I think when Jake McCabe is missing, because we have that, it just steadies that whole
for
group.
Sure. Because the dynamic of that D core is sort of lost. Like, but that is not good.
No,
when
exactly.
when you take out one guy and you just can't find like good combinations, that you can depend on. So, and I mean, it could be a different guy, what if we lose Tanev at some point? Like,
no, it would have the same effect, I think. Like,
so
it's
really
one of those guys.
Yeah. So as improved as our D is, they probably still need something there. And I don't know if, a healthy Hakanpää is going to be the answer, but I really don't see that being, that much of an option at this point of the season. How much, he's missed quite a lot. Like how effective is he going to be able to get his game to? And, so I don't know.
I'm going to get into Morgan Riley on that later on. I wanted to get your thoughts on it, but, let's go on to the Devils game.
Yes.
Sheldon Keefe's return.
Yeah. So Sheldon Keefe obviously came back. It was our first game without John Tavares, who got injured in the previous practice. Jake McCabe is back and makes a huge impact. and then Willie, we know, is back and now on a 4-way tie for second in the goal scoring department. He basically put his money where his mouth is and did the thing. And he played amazing that night.
That line, it's a pretty good line since John Tavares is out. Like for me, I don't know, I'm assuming he'll agree, but it's a noticeable difference when it comes to like the taking the face-offs and that. Like it's just unbelievable how important that part of the game is huge, but just having him there as the guy you can depend on, right? Mr. Consistency, John Tavares. But that line, I guess, with Domi, Nylander, and McMahon, so Domi replacing JT, it's worked pretty well, I guess, right? Like they're not, again, it's just because Domi is not great at the center position, which it just proves that we need a centerman.
More center depth. Yep.
Yeah, we need a centerman. Having JT out, it just shows the glaring hole there, I think. And but I mean, he's trying he's doing okay, Domi, I think, right? He's not great, but Nylander got the one-timer to tie the game, like from a pass from Max Domi. And and then the other thing I got from that game too is the not starting on time again. Yeah. Right? Like we were there at the game, and it's just like 2 minutes in. Again, we're down 1-0, right? And they were just standing around, like just not doing anything. Like that was the whole issue. Like they just let Jack Hughes just go blow by everybody and go right in and score on Joseph Woll.
Yeah, it's like another situation where I wonder what was said in intermission time in the room. It would be interesting to be a fly on a wall, but yeah, I mean, we talked about it on our last show. I really feel that part of their MO is that they believe that they can just turn it on at any time. And in these last couple games, they kind of did that. But in the playoffs, that's a dangerous way to live. You know, like
it's like you said a while ago.
Be good enough.
It's like you said a while ago. They're kind of playing like the Bruins were. Yeah. With the last 5 to 8 minutes of the game just showing up, and they beat us all the time when they do that, right? They let us get ahead, and then they chip away at the deficit and tie it up. And then they really turn it on at the end.
Yeah, and why do you want to live your life that way? Like,
no, exactly.
Honestly, don't you want to make your life easier? Like, I don't know. Do they need that extra adrenaline push, that fear, that anxiety to kind of push them over the top? I don't know. Yeah. But
the PK in that game too struggled again. Getting worried about this now that we on our last show, and I had it as the good. I was like praising it, saying how great it is, and now all of a sudden, like Nico Hischier, I mean, he's a really good player, obviously for the Devils, but he got 2 power play goals against us, and it struggled there, and and then of course Jake McCabe being back, it was going back to that similarity with Jake Muzzin, but I was looking back at that Columbus series, I guess, from that in 2020 when they were in, I don't know if it was in the bubble. I think it was. And
then after he got taken out,
by
everything fell apart.
What's his name? It was Pierre-Luc Dubois, that PLD. He drove him into a player, and that basically is what
ended his career.
Yeah, right. But because he tried to come back in 2022, I believe, and then I was looking up some of the articles and that, and then he was out for that whole season, the following season again, basically his neck, some spinal injury, but the importance of him in that series, like we were done basically after game 3 when that happened, we were done. And I don't know, that's why, like we said before, it's a little bit of a dangerous gamble to be so dependent on that one guy. I mean, you need those guys, but you got to have other guys.
No, and this is where it really hurts us that we haven't been able to develop a homegrown player or draft a defenseman. Like I was thinking about that a lot last night when you watch Lane Hutson. Like, I don't want to talk about him, but I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at who do we have? Like, we've got all these filler guys, and we need to be developing a guy who's like a star on the back end as well. You know, they should not trade. Do we even have a first round? I think we have a first rounder this year. They need to save that up, and they need to draft a good defenseman if they can. But like,
actually, I don't know if it's this year. It's next year. I think it's 2026. Yeah.
I don't know. And like, that's the thing. Like, they're finishing, the Habs, like low down in the standings. So they're getting, top-notch talent, which, we're going to get somebody in the first round, but, who knows? The closer you get to the bottom, it's like going to get less
so long
iffy.
You can keep doing that, though.
Yeah, because we haven't developed anybody really good since Morgan Riley.
Yeah. And I don't know, for all the talk about, for years, we've been talking even on this show about Topi Niemela, right? Like, I mean, he's not, when you look at Lane Hutson, like you're talking about, like, he's a small defenseman. Like that goal, we'll get into it with Willie, that he scored versus the Habs. Like, he's a small guy. It was almost like, I've read who it was, but they said it was almost like Willie was carrying him like a backpack on his back while he was going in. But
but I think that's more because he's younger, Niemela, so he's still slight and whatever. But
so Topi Niemela is a few years older. Let's just say he's in his early 20s. But where is he? Why isn't he getting that Like that was the star guy. Why aren't they giving him an opportunity?
Like I know it's a good question.
Like because last year when we talked to Nick Barden, who covers the Marlies,
he really thought he was going to get more of a shot.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know this whole thing, anyways, with McCabe and his, I guess, his importance. Like it's good to have that guy, but he's definitely between him and Tanev. Anyways, that pairing. It basically everything depends on them being
exactly
who they are. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to that Hab game since we're talking about it a little bit.
Yeah. So the Habs. So basically, Joseph Woll was basically the star. I mean,
yeah, because it was another game where they did not start on time.
Yeah, that was horrific. That first period. Yeah. I have to say it was me because I posted on X to say one of us. I'm pretty sure that you did as well. I thought the game was over after the first period. Like, it was pathetic. Like,
well, I think I was about to email you or text you that this is a disgrace, but I held back and I didn't. Yeah. And then things turned around. So, yeah. But it was not looking like I was thinking this is like another typical Leafs Hab matchup where they're all over us. Josh Anderson scores always because he always does.
Yes.
And then I thought, that's it because they were just pelting us and they've got so much team speed. They're so good on the rush, like
I don't know. What I said
especially
too
when
was,
you're not like showing up, like it's
yeah. That's pretty easy to think. It was like the Habs thought though that
was over.
It was like 20. Yeah, what I thought. It was like they were taking a fan's approach to the game. 20 minutes, they're done. 3-0, we're done, sort of thing, right? But no, they chip away at it the way we were mentioning earlier about their technique. They chip away, and like Matthews I couldn't believe he got his first shorthanded goal of the season, or of his career. Yeah, it was just like, really? I was like, oh, so
well, I mean,
maybe now he'll be considered for the Selke Trophy.
Yeah,
because he got one goal. But what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that it's not really a surprise because he's had limited penalty killing up until the last, 2 or 3 years, right? So, anyway, this is the first year that they've kind of really leaned in on him and Mitch playing together, right?
Yeah. So one guy that nobody really mentioned, I don't think, that I was impressed with was Pontus Holmberg coming back. He, you noticed him. He played 14 minutes of ice time, just over. He was actually 50% on the draw too, versus the Habs. And, I don't know. And he apparently has won, I don't know how many games, but he's drawn the most penalties for to get us on the power play sort of thing recently. Yeah.
That is actually not a small thing because as an organization, we hardly ever get the calls.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important aspect that needs to be in the lineup.
Yeah. So he's done that. And then of course, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, after we talked about him last show too, on her saying like maybe he's getting too many minutes and all that.
He played great last night.
Yeah. He still got too many minutes though. He actually, and this is where Morgan Rielly comes into it for me. Morgan Rielly versus the Habs last night, he played just over 16 minutes, whereas Oliver Ekman-Larsson played over 22 minutes. That should be reversed.
Well,
so this is a problem.
I don't know if it should be reversed because maybe he hasn't been playing well. It needs to be reversed.
Yes.
But why? Why? It's a performance decision, though, Christine. Like, it's a performance decision. No, that's why he's not playing as much.
I know that. But when you think of...
Are you saying he needs to be better?
The miles. Yeah. And the miles on... Morgan Rielly has a lot of miles, but he not does. As many as OEL. OEL, I think, is better as the third pairing. Like, on the bottom pairing. Less minutes. Like... Morgan Rielly needs to be better, like you're saying, to play the amount, because he used to play that too. He used to be playing 20, 21 minutes a night. And now last night he was 16 minutes and he didn't have a good game again. Like, I don't think he did anyways, but something, again, going back to the defense, something there needs to be done to get a player. I don't know if it's that Hakanpää or if it's somebody else that they get, because it's just, he's been okay with Myers, but he has to be better.
Yeah, but I like how long can you go on saying that we need to get somebody better to play with him?
I know.
There's a big onus of that on him too. Like he needs to figure it out. Does this system, is it, the best for his game? Probably not. But if he wants to stay on this team, he's going to have to figure it out and play better and, try to figure out how he can get the most out of himself within this system.
Yeah. I don't know. I was even thinking, is he injured?
Well,
somehow?
I mean, I was just going to say that too. Maybe he's dealing with something. And so they're trying to give him a little bit of a breather by not overplaying him for the next little bit.
Yeah.
This could be something like that.
I don't know. Because they're managing Matthews' minutes. Like he only played, I think it was 19 minutes last night or almost 19 minutes he played. So.
I have to say he's almost looking back to his old self because some of those shots and goals last night were like pretty awesome.
It's been nice. It's nice to see that short side top shelf that he scored both on Dallas and New Jersey. That was the shot that I noticed. So that was nice. But also we haven't mentioned him, or we did mention him with his comment, I guess. But Mitch Marner now has 50 assists, second in the NHL behind McKinnon, who has 56 assists, and Marner is now fifth in total points in the NHL, or 64. That's as of Sunday when we're recording this podcast. One behind McDavid, who is going to get suspended, most likely for the cross check, or he should.
I didn't see that or hear that.
It was late last night when I was working on some of this our podcast for today. But
that will be interesting.
Oh yes,
I'm gonna watch that, and then the whole thing. Anyways.
Oh yeah,
we'll see.
Because it was a cross.
If he only gets a fine, I am gonna lose my mind.
Well, he has a phone call, or he has
in person.
It's a call. Yeah. Okay. And but he cross-checked the guy in the face. Like, I mean, it was
that's no different than when Austin did on Darlene.
Yeah, it was the same similar thing. I mean, it was right at the end of the game with the Canucks last night's game.
Oh, and then that's similar to Riley.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to be watching that.
Yeah. So
very carefully.
That'll be interesting. So Mitch is 1 point behind McDavid, and he's only 5 points behind second spot Draisaitl. So and McKinnon is at the top with 73 points right now. He's a little bit. He's having his usual really good season. Yeah. All right, and just one more point before we leave that Habs game. I don't know what Team Canada was thinking having that is it
Montembeault
or Montembeault? As the picking him over Logan Thompson. I don't know. I mean,
I think he was playing really well at the beginning of the season, so that's why. But I mean, I think Logan Thompson also has been playing really well throughout the whole season. I disagree that these rosters had to be locked in that early, early December. Like, that's to me ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be locked in? Like, they should be this is the preliminary roster, and then the final roster is they pick it now.
Yeah. And it's a turn, like it's an NHL tournament. It's not like a big international event. So why have these restrictions like that? I don't know. That's to do with the four nations, of course. But so let's get back to Leafs here. It's been an up and down week, but thankfully it ended on an up note. So with the big win versus the Habs, 7-3. And so now we're going to highlight our star of the week.
Yes. So our star of the week for this Leafs Quick Hits episode is William Nylander. Willie backed up his words from his comments after the Stars game, which were, "What's the big deal? It's 3 games." With the overtime winner on Thursday versus the Devils, and having so many breakaways lately, you could see that he was working to get out of his scoring slump. So he finished the week with 3 goals, 1 assist, and that makes him very much worthy of our star of the week. I loved his intensity, even when he was making those comments. He was, I don't know, he's been fiery all week.
He has this little bit of a smirk on his face.
He does. He does. And on the ice, he's all business. Like when he got his first goal after the slump, I think he put his arm up, but he was stone cold on his face.
That was
there was no smile. There was no nothing. He was all business.
Yeah.
And he carried that on throughout the whole week. It was great. And then that goal yesterday was like incredible.
Yeah, and he had the great goal coming off the bench, the OT winner versus the Devils. Like we said, that was huge. And then last night versus the Habs, again he scored a great one. And I loved what I loved too from that was the celly. It was like he was making a kiss to the crowd. I was like instead of doing the salute,
yes.
The kiss, right? I was just like, oh my God. I
could see that he would like being in Montreal though, but like I like what you're saying before about he was wearing Lane Hudson like a backpack on that goal.
It's like, it's Lane Hudson.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just need to go to the net and just, you can hang on the back of me there. But So definitely he is worthy of being our star of the week.
Yes. He's an electric guy to watch. He's just, I love watching him. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So another big week is coming up with 2 more divisional games. And we are starting the week off at home versus the Lightning on Monday. And that's going to be on Amazon Prime again. So it's another prime time hockey night. And then I'll remember the very first one we had, which was really great. So I'm hoping to see a repeat of that.
Yeah.
And then we welcome the Columbus Blue Jackets into town on Wednesday night. They're kind of an up and coming team and they should not sleep on them.
No, that's for sure. They've been on a heater lately.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night's not going to be any easier because we're in Ottawa to play the Senators. And that's another team that is fighting for a playoff spot. So there's a lot it's pretty tight in the Eastern Conference and in our division in general. So it's only the Buffalo Sabres that we always forget about. That is, I don't know what happened to them, but they've kind of disappeared, unfortunately.
Nobody's really talking about the Sabres, but
no.
Tampa actually, when I was looking at their schedule, like they're kind of following, they had a big loss last week versus the Bruins of all people. And then they won their last 2 games. So they won against Anaheim and against Detroit. They beat the Wings. So, and now they're going to be, that was yesterday, yesterday on Saturday, they beat them. And then, now they're coming into town. So they've won 2 games in a row, kind of like us, basically. They've won 2 games in a row. We've run 2 games in a row. So, and they have the games in hand on us too. So that's where it would be nice to get the win, let's just say, right? But it's going to be a tough one. I mean, you got Kucherov there and all that. But, what's his Braden Point? Yeah. And Hedman, obviously. So you got all those veterans that have won before and Vasilevsky in goal. So, And then the Blue Jackets, I mean, they've won. How many games did they win? I was trying to get... they won 1, 2, 3. They were 4, 5, 6. Yeah. They were on a 6-game winning streak before they lost yesterday to the Rangers of all people.
Interesting.
So they got it. And then they're playing the Islanders tomorrow on Monday night before they come here to play us. And then, they're definitely playing much better, a lot better in the, in the Metropolitan Division. And then the Ottawa Senators, I mean, I don't know, the Sens are kind of up and down. I don't think Elmark is back yet.
No. But he might, but maybe for Saturday. Goalie played amazing yesterday. So,
right. Yeah.
They had a big comeback win.
Yeah. It was 6-5. Well. Yeah. Lots of goals in that one.
That was a crazy game between the Bruins and them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just going to look at the standings here just to see how far again so Tampa, they have 3 games in hand on us, 53 points. So they're 7 points behind us, and then, and where is it here? Where's Ottawa? Ottawa's 45. Oh, so they're right now in the second wild card spot.
Yeah. So they leapfrogged, I think it might have been Boston.
They leapfrogged. Oh, actually, they're tied with Boston right now.
But I think they have
because the game's in hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, 50 points they got. So they're technically, they're only.
Yeah, I think there's 3 teams down there tied for 50 with 50. I think the Habs might also have 50.
They have 48 now.
Oh, 48.
Because they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So they're actually, Habs are tied with Philly. Jeez, that's quite a log
It's a log
there.
jam, man.
Yeah.
I know. There's going to be a lot. I don't know. Once we pass the trade deadline, it's going to be really interesting. The scoreboard watching.
Yeah. So, so that's, again, it's really the divisional games. I mean, hopefully it'll be a tough game versus CBJ, Columbus there too. But most important are these divisional games. So we'll be back next week to cover them with another episode of Leafs Quick Hits. Don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button, Apple, Spotify, if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to us. We'd love to hear from you. If you are listening on Spotify, please answer our poll question for a quick way to give us your feedback on the show. Leave us a comment too on YouTube or on social media. Our handle is at LTL1917 and let us know your thoughts on the show because feedback is so important. We want to make the show better for you. And you can also listen to us on the Believe Network. It's BLEAV. And don't forget to hit that follow button wherever you listen to our show. Again, don't follow is the most important. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app.
And a reminder, you can check us out also on our Ko-fi page at kofi.com/LTL1917. And while visiting our Ko-fi page, please consider supporting our show by buying us a coffee. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. You can find the link to our Ko-fi page on our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
And as always, thank you to our healthcare workers and first responders for all that they do.
And we thank you, as always, for listening and watching Ladies Talking Leafs, presented by Bet Online. Till next time, go Leafs, go.
Do you believe?